Hello students, my name is Namesh Shukla. I'm a student of Law at Symbiosis Law School, Noida. I am your quant mentor here at CLAT IQ. The topic which we'll be covering today is speed, distance, and time. So to start with, we'll go with the basic formulas. The first one being speed equals to distance divided by time. Distance equal to speed into time, and time equals distance divided by speed. All three formulas are derived from the one single formula that is distance equals speed into time. So moving next, there is this formula of average speed which um, which we use to calculate the average speed by which the body, the person, the vehicle is moving to cover the entire distance. Whenever a distance is covered by any body or us, we do not cover it with a constant speed. The speed keeps changing. When we have to calculate the entire speed, like entire speed, during the time of the coverage of the distance, we use this formula that equals to total distance divided by total time. That is total distance which is the body or the person or the object covered divided by the total time taken by that body, that object, or us. Speed is measured in two units, that is meter per second and kilometer per hour. To convert the speed from meter per second into kilometer per hour, we multiply it by 18 by 5. And to convert the speed from kilometer per hour to meter per second, we multiply it by 5 by 18. A basic example of this concept, a car travels the distance of 180 kilometers in 3 hours. So in this example, we know the distance traveled, the time taken. We have to calculate the speed of the vehicle, the speed of the car. So the speed would be distance divided by time, the formula which was given in the previous slide. To apply this, speed equals distance, which was 180 kilometers, divided by time, which was 3 hours, that is 60 kilometers per hour. In this question, the distance was in kilometers and the time was in hours. So we had to do no conversions as the units were constant. Rather, the units were uh, in the same tone. Another example of the train which runs at an 80 kilometer per hour for 5 hours. In this example, we know about the speed of the train and the time uh, in which the train traveled. So the formula which will be applicable in this question is distance equals speed into time. So the distance will be equal to 80, that is the speed of the train, and the time taken, which is 5 hours, that is 400 kilometers. In this question also the units were in the same term, like kilometer was given and kilometer per hour was given and hours were given. So we had to do no conversions. But if the speed would have been in meter per second or the hours would have been in minutes or seconds, we had to do the conversions. For example, this is 5 hours. If instead of 5 hours, it would have been 300 minutes. So we had to convert it to bring it into hours, or it would have been in seconds. So we had to divide it by 60 into 60, that is 3600, to convert seconds to hours. Another example in which we have to find time. Bus covers a distance of 240 kilometers at 60 kilometer per hour. So the time taken would be distance divided by speed. That is, distance is 240 kilometers and speed is 60 kilometer per hour. So distance upon time, that is 240 upon 60 equals 4 hours. So if in this question the speed which is given would have been in meter per second, so we had to convert it into kilometer per hour to solve this question. This is the example of average speed. It is one of the most important concepts. So a person travels 100 kilometers at 50 kilometer per hour and returns at 25 kilometer per hour. So the total distance would be the 100 which the person took to cover that distance, and another 100 which the person took, like person had to travel to come back from the distance. So 100 plus 100 is 200. So total distance is 200, and total time taken, which will have to calculate separately of the going distance and the coming distance. Like if the speed is 50 kilometers per hour and the person has to travel 100 kilometers, it will take 2 hours. That is 100 divided by 50. And on the return journey, the distance is same, that is 100 kilometers, but the speed is 25 kilometers per hour. So the time taken would be 4 hours. So the total time would be 2 plus 4, that is 6 hours. Uh, so to calculate average speed, the basic formula which I have showed in the previous slide, which was total distance upon total time. So it would be 200 divided by 2 plus 4, that is 6. To calculate it, this would be the answer, and it will be written in kilometer per hour. Now, we are going to study about the concept of relative speed. Relative speed is the concept which is applicable in questions like in train concept and the boat concept. So, for example, there is this train which is coming from the front, and there is this train which is moving from this direction, that is in the opposite directions. So, the relative speed would be the addition of the first speed and the second speed, like would be the addition of both speeds of both the trains. An example is given: two trains moving in opposite direction at 50 km per hour and 70 km per hour. So the relative speed would be 50 plus 70, that is 120 km per hour. Another concept of the same subtopic, that is the relative speed, which is trains moving in the same direction. For example, a train is moving in this direction and followed by a train also moving in this direction. So the relative speed, for example, the speed of the train moving ahead is 40 kilometers per hour, and the speed of the train moving behind it is 60 kilometers per hour. So we'll subtract the distance, we'll subtract the speed which is higher, we'll subtract the speed which is lower from the speed of the train which is moving at a higher speed. So 60 minus 40 would be 20 kilometers. Now, boat and streams question, one of the most important topics. Many times CLAT has asked it, not even CLAT, other all OLET exams also. So, downstream means with the flow of the stream, with the flow of the river or any water body, and upstream means of against the flow of the stream, river, whatever it is. So to calculate the speed of the boat moving in the direction of the stream, that is downstream, we will add the speed of the boat to the speed of the stream. For example, the rate, uh, the speed at which the flow of water is moving is 4 kilometers per hour, and the speed at which the boat is moving is 6 kilometers per hour. So the total speed at which the boat would be moving downstream would be 10 kilometers per hour. Upstream, while moving upstream, the boat is moving against the direction of against the direction of the stream, the river. So in this, while moving, the speed of the boat would the speed of the stream would be subtracted from the speed of the boat. In the previous example which I gave you, the speed of the boat was 6 kilometers per hour and the speed of the stream was 4 kilometers per hour. So while the same boat will move in the upstream direction, the relative speed or the net speed of the boat would be 2 kilometers per hour. Similar example has been given here. Here the speed of the boat is 12 kilometers per hour and the speed of the stream is 3 kilometers per hour. While moving downstream, the speed of the both stream and boat has been added, which is equals to 15 kilometers per hour. And while moving upstream, the speed of the stream has been subtracted from the speed of the boat, which is equal to 9 kilometers per hour. Yeah. So this is the question. Before doing this question, we'll solve another question. I'll divide this area into half. So there is this train whose speed is 40 meter per second. 40 meter per second, and it crosses a pole in 4 seconds. In this question, the speed of the train is given and the time taken by it to cross a pole is given. In this question, we have to calculate the length of the train. So when a train is moving in the direction of the pole, the time, the distance which the train which have to travel would be equal to the length of the train, because the length of the train is zero. That is negligible. Plane is hardly this thick and this is negligible. So we'll take that as zero. And so the distance which the train will have to travel would be equal to the length of the train. In this question, we had to find out the length of the train, while the speed of the train and the time taken by the train to cross the pole has been given. So the formula of distance is speed into time, and here also the units given are familiar, are in the same term. So which will be equal to 40 into 4, that is 160 meters. Clear? In this example, in this question, we have been given the length of the train, the length of the platform, and the speed. Here we have to calculate the time in which the train, the time that the train will take to cross a platform of length 300 meters. In the previous question, the train had to cross a pole. The length of the pole was negligible, so that will not be added. But here in this case, there is a certain length of a platform which is 300 meters, and the length of the train is 200 meters. So the total distance which the train will have to travel would be equal to length of train plus length of platform. Length of platform, which will be equal to 200 meters plus 300 meters equals to 500 meters. Correct? The length of the train is 200 meters and the length of the platform is 300 meters. So the total distance which the train will have to travel is 500 meters. The speed has been given, which is equals to 10 meter per second. So the time which the train will take, time equals to distance upon, I meant speed, but I wrote time, distance upon speed, which will be equal to 500 divided by 10, which will be equal to 50 seconds. The length was in meters, the length was in meters and the speed is in meter per second. So the time which will be calculated, the time which will come would be in seconds. Basic but important tips which we have to keep in mind while solving the problems of speed, distance, and time. The first one being we have to keep the units in mind and we have to keep the units same before solving. For example, the distance which is given in a question is in kilometers. So and the time is in hours. So the speed which will calculate would be in kilometers per hour. Or if distance is given and speed is given, so time would be in hours. And if speed and time is given, then distance would be in kilometers. And on the other hand, if the distance is in meters, time is in seconds, then speed would be in meter per second. And if speed is in meter per second and time is in seconds, then distance would be in meters. And also the last one which is left, that is if the speed and the distance, speed is in meter per second and distance is in meters, so the time will be in seconds. The other tip, which is we have to use kilometers for long distances and meter per second for shorter distances, as um, for traveling long distances we will take hours and we'll have to travel kilometers, which is very basic. So we have so this concept we have to apply. The conversion formulas, there are two conversion formulas which I told you on the first slide, rather second slide. You have to keep in mind, you have to apply that, you have to learn it to apply it, and we have to practice questions regularly. We all know it. A question very basic, just say it, haven't solved it, because I've already solved similar question like previously. Another basic simple question, we'll just go through it once in 30 seconds. Train runs at 90 kilometers per hour for straight 3 hours. So we have to calculate the distance, which would be equal to speed into time, that's 90 into 3 equals 270 kilometers. Bus covers a distance of 360 kilometers at 72 kilometers per hour. So the time which the bus will take would be distance upon speed, that is 360 upon 72. When we calculated, the answer is 5 hours. And also a basic but most important tip, if your arithmetic, if your basic calculations are not wrong, I highly recommend you to start practicing multiplication, divisions, typo questions, as we have to be very quick while solving our quant section in the CLAT exam. Not only the quant section, but also the any other section, we have to do it very quickly and with good answer like correction rate. A person walks at 10 kilometers, a person walks 10 kilometers at 5 kilometers per hour. So the time which the person will take would be distance upon time, that is 10 divided by 5, that is equals to 2 hours. Did I come back to the previous question? A bike moves at 50 kilometers per hour for 6 hours, the distance would be 50 into 60, which is equals to 300. Many of you must be finding these questions very basic, very easy, as the concept of speed, distance, time, and time, I think, is taught in 6th or 7th grade. But don't worry, there are questions which I'll be discussing further, which are of good level, which are of level in which you'll have to use pen and paper. Bike moves at 50 kilometers per hour for 6 hours. Distance would be 50 into 6, that is 300 kilometers per hour. I mean, 300 kilometers. So, an important concept which I just taught you is train moving in opposite direction. I told you when the trains are or any bodies are moving in the opposite direction, that is, they are moving like this, then the speed of the train or the speed of both the bodies is added. So, trains move opposite at 60 kilometers per hour and 40 kilometers per hour. So the relative speed would be 60 kilometers plus 40, that is 100 kilometers per hour. Boat moves at 15 kilometers per hour and the speed of the stream is 3 kilometers per hour. So when the boat will be moving downstream, that is with the flow of the stream, with the flow of the river, then the speed of the boat would be 15 plus 3, that is 18 kilometers per hour, while the train, while the boat, when it will be moving against the flow of the stream or against the flow of the river, the relative speed would be 15 minus 3, that is 12 kilometers per hour. Another important type of question, which I have the concept which I have already discussed. The length of the train is 150 meters. The length of the platform is 250 meters. The speed of the train is 20 meter per second. We have to calculate the time in which the train will cover the distance, like the, the train will cross the platform. To demonstrate it, some students have problem uh, to understand this concept. So I'll demonstrate it with a diagram. For example, this is a train and this is a platform. Here we have been told that we have to calculate the time which the train will take to cross that platform. So the process of crossing the platform starts at this moment while the train is moving in this direction, right? So the total distance which the train has to cover is the distance of the platform, that is 250, plus the distance of the train, I mean length of the train, that is 150. And this process of crossing the platform ends when the train reaches this point, like this point. Like train has moved ahead, has moved, like has crossed it. At this point, the process of crossing the platform ends. By this time, the train has traveled this distance, which is equals to 250 plus 150. So the total distance would be 250 plus 150, that is 400 meters, and the speed is 20 meter per second. To calculate the time, we'll use the formula of distance divided by speed, that is 400 divided by 20, which is equals to 20 seconds. Person travels. Now these are CLAT level questions. From here, you'll have to use pen and paper, you'll have to write, you'll have to calculate. A person travels 120 kilometers at 40 kilometer per hour and returns at 60 kilometer per hour. We have to calculate the time taken by the person. So, as the person is moving, let's assume the person is moving from point A to point B and also returning. So the total distance would be like, and we have been given that this is 120 and this is also obviously would be 120, as the both the points are same, as the bodies, as the person is returning the same distance. So the total distance would be 120 plus 120, which is 240 kilometers. Oh, right. And the speed by which the person has traveled the going distance is 40, and the speed by which the train has returned the same distance is 60. So we can also do this in an easier way, as 120 is also divisible by 40 and 60. Both of is divisible by both the speeds, so we can easily do it by calculating the time taken by the body to reach from point A to point B separately, and calculating the time taken by the person to come back from point B to point A, and then we can simply add both the times. This will save our time in the exam. So 120 by 40 plus 120 divided by 60, which is 3 plus 2, that is 5. We also have to calculate the average speed of the train. Now we know the total distance. We know the total distance, that is 240. We know the total time, which is 5 hours. So the formula of average speed is total distance upon total time. We'll do it like 240 divided by 5, which is equals to 48 kilometer per hour. I hope you all have understood this question very easily, very quickly, as it is it was an easy question with basic calculations. Now the concept which I taught you of trains moving in opposite direction. So two trains moving in opposite direction at 72 kilometers per hour and 52 kilometers per hour cross each other in 18 seconds. Length of one train is 180, find the length of the another train. So In this question, the trains are moving in the opposite direction. One train is going from this direction and the other from the opposite direction. I told you guys that when we have to calculate the relative speed while the bodies are moving in the opposite direction, we add the speed of both the bodies. So, as the speed of one train is 72, speed equals to S1 plus S2, that is 72 plus what? 54, 54, which is equals to 126 kilometer per hour. Now let's see it. We've got the speed is 126 kilometers per hour. Now we have to convert this in meter per second, as the length of the train has been given in meters, that is 180 meters, and also the time has been given in seconds. So 126 into 5 by 18. When we divide 126 by 18, it is 7. So it would be 35 meter per second. Let it be. I've already solved it. So I'll just write the answer, that is 35 meter per second. Correct? Which question is this? Oh, we came backwards. Yeah, we were on this question. So the speed of the relative speed would be 35 meter per second. Meter per second. Second. Right. Now we have been given the time in which the train is taking to, like, the trains were crossing each other, right? Yeah, the trains are crossing each other. So we know the speed, we know the time, we can calculate the distance. Speed into time. Speed is 35, time is 18 seconds. So the length would be 630 meters. Am I correct? Yes, I am. Now we know the length which the train is traveling to cover the entire distance. And we also know the distance which the train had to cover was the distance of one train plus the distance of another train. I'll also demonstrate this with a diagram. This is one train, let it be. I'll remove this train. This is one train, this is one train, moving in opposite directions. So the point at which they'll both start crossing each other would be this point, and they'll cross each other when they will reach, rather I'll redraw it. When they reach till this point, that is, they both have to cover the distance which is equal to the length of both the trains. So let the length of the train 1 be L1, and the length of another train be L2. which is equals to total distance. We know the total distance being 360 meters, and the length of one train has been given as 180 meters plus L2. Now to calculate L2, we will subtract 180 from 360. So the length of the train would be 450 meters. Correct? Did all of you understand this question? We're moving further. Did we move further? No. Now we did. A boat takes 4 hours downstream and 6 hours for the upstream in the same for the same distance. If the speed of stream is 2 kilometers per hour, find the speed of boat. So we'll assume the speed of the boat being b, and while we know that we'll divide the speed which the train covers to move downstream and to move upstream, as we know the ratio, we know the time, right? So we'll do it like b plus 2 divided by b minus 2, which is equals to 6 divided by 4. When you divide by 2, it comes 3 and it comes 2. Now 2 will go this side and b minus 2 will go here. So this will be 2b plus 4 equals 3b minus 6. Now 2b will go to the right side and minus 6 will come to this side. This will be equal to 10 equals b. Trains crossing platform. A train of length 240 at 54 kilometers per hour at the speed of 54 kilometers per hour has to cross a platform of length 360 kilometers. I mean 360 meters. So we'll have to calculate the time taken by the train to cover the distance. As the distance has been given in kilometers per hour, we'll have to convert it into meter per second. To convert it into meter per second, we'll multiply it by 5 divided by 18. So 54 when divided by 18 is 3, and 3 into 5 is 15. So the speed of the train is 15 meter per second. The total distance the train has to travel would be the distance of the, I mean, length of the platform plus the length of the train. So the platform length is the train length of the train is 240. So 240 plus 360, 360 is the length of the platform, which is equals to 600 meters. The time taken would be distance upon speed, that is 600 divided by 15 equals to 40 seconds. We'll solve this question at the last. This is not so difficult, but comparatively difficult from the questions which we are discussing right now in the class. Okay, so speed of ratio of A and B is 3:4. A takes 20 minutes more than B for the same distance, and B takes 60 minutes. Find A's time. We know we do not have to calculate the ratio n, that is not applicable. Just read the question after this. A takes 20 minutes more than B, and B takes 60 minutes. We have to calculate A's time. So we'll add 20 into 60, which is equals to 80 minutes. This ratio would have been applicable if this would not have been given 60 minutes. Then we know that A is taking, like, A is moving at a faster, A is moving at the slower speed, so A will obviously take more time, and the more time which has been taken is 20 minutes, and the difference in the ratio is of 1. So we know that 3 into 20 would be 60 and 4 into 20 would be 80. This is a type of question which I have given to let you guys know about a concept and also to get a formula of the same concept. Two runners are moving around the circle. Let's assume this be the let's assume this to be a circle, accurate circle, not so accurate. So a person is moving from this direction while another moving from this direction. They both are running, and the time taken by one is 45 seconds and the other is 30 seconds. Here we have to calculate after how much time will they meet again after the starting point. At the starting point they both met. Now they'll again meet while covering this distance. So to calculate this, we just have to calculate the LCM of both the numbers, both the time taken, like, by the time taken by the both the persons or both the bodies. So LCM of 30 and 45 is 90. 90 is as divisible by both of them. So, and it is the lowest number which is divisible by both of them. So the 90 seconds would be the answer. They'll meet again after 90 seconds. A car covers equal distances at x kilometers and at y kilometer per hour. A car covers equal distances, that is, the distance is same, at this speed and at this speed. The formula which will applicable to calculate the average speed would be 2 into x into y divided by x plus y, which is also written in the matter in the while using the variable s, like s1 being, like, to start with this question, x being s1 while y being s2. So the formula of average speed would be 2 into s1 into s2 moving ahead. Oh, yes, this was the end of the slide.